Hi, Carmen. This is Anne, and thanks for wanting to do this. I know this is a little tough because I'm a huge admirer of your work. And this year was extremely tough. Really, really, really amazing pieces. But we're going to kind of just do a quick, brief look over at the three that you submitted, and this one is the one that we accepted into Hidden. This one is also really, really beautiful, and it's a class project, and it's a worthy class project. Maybe I will start with your first one. I think maybe the problem that we had with this immediately, there's a couple things. One is how visible the strokes are, and when you're looking at something, when you're portraying something as shiny as glass, um, clarity, texture is not something you would normally want to see in it unless it was textured glass, which none of this is. But also it's like these lines here are just not very, refined is the word that that comes to mind. They just don't look real. They look like lines drawn on glass. And so there's like just a falling down of realism, which, you might say, well, it's a style. Except for that this one right here, I think I can draw a little box around it. I think this whole piece, this little section right here is just so beautiful. It's very realistic. Less so down here. I think these little squiggly lines also look a little like false. They look like a drawn on line rather than a reflection. But everything in here and even here looks, very, very real. So when you have an element like that that looks so real, next to elements that look less real, it's actually, the whole piece kind of falls apart because of the small inconsistencies within the piece. This piece really has like nothing wrong with it. I guess I would kind of like to see, I know that it must be glass, but there's like no horizon line. So there's nothing sort of anchoring the bases. So some sort of, table line or, would be nice. Would kind of like settle the piece. The colors are really nice. It's all believable. There's no drawing problems. But, it's just real pretty. It's really, really, really a pretty piece. The problem is that we had a billion really pretty, beautiful pieces this year. And so, I really like the composition. I like the two, to the left, but bunched together, and then the tulip sort of offering a counterbalance. So the solidity of the two vases with the sort of waving quality, the open quality of the tulips are really, really nice together. So really, I really can't say that anything is wrong with it, except, maybe you could say, well, it's not a particularly unique perspective, or there's no surprise in there, or what takes your breath. One thing that we do when we are choosing pieces for the CP Treasures books is that we imagine that we've just turned the page on the book, and what we see is this next piece that we're looking on, that we're judging. And does it make you go, that almost like surprise, awe, wonder. And this is like super close. This is 90% there. The background's really nice. There's just really nothing wrong with it. It just maybe doesn't quite have that wow factor. When I look at some of, I pulled this up. This piece, there we go. This piece that you did, a little while back for our in-depth. This has wow all over it. There's not a single stroke that is, visible to the point where it's distracting, you know, from the smooth quality, shiny quality of the cherries. And then the crystal itself is just like exquisitely done. You haven't done one line that looks false, not one line that's a little awkward or a little too heavy. It's just perfection. And this, you know, like I said, has that wow factor. And this, it just is missing that mark. And then last, this was, you know, I don't know if it was the nicest piece. It was some of the three. I mean, I kind of like the tulips. I'm a huge tulip fan, but this was really beautiful, and I liked that you were using this really. I mean, I assume this dark blue paper with this color flower was interesting to me. I think greens are very difficult in color pencil. And I think that you struggled a little bit. It just feels to me like there's too much contrast between the veins and the leaf. Here. All, you know, actually on all of them, the contrast is really high. Usually leaves don't have quite that much, so that drops down the sort of realism, the believability. And then the greens just seem quite pure. And, you know, I would love to see some browns or grays or oranges. The oranges are especially nice with greens. Or if you went cool, even some blues, but it just looks a little too green. But, you know, without anything else sort of balancing the brightness of the greens. And then the last point, if I'm going to be super picky, again, these lines, I don't know if they're scratched in, the little tiny white ones. I mean, they're probably, well, I don't know. I don't know if it's scratched in or laid on top. But they seem a little, I don't know if it's there, like they seem too white, or they seem too straight, or they seem too thick. There's something that's not quite working with those. The little yellow dots are fine, and the top is fine. But those lines just look a little like, you know, like safety pins. And, you know, maybe that's the way it is, but there's something not quite. And actually, these work down here. It's these. It's like they're a little too straight. I know I've been incredibly picky, but it's a really focal point of the whole piece. I think I just goes there and goes there and goes there and goes there. So when you have a focal point, then, you know, it has to be perfect. This is really a very beautiful piece. And like I said, you were like a fabulous artist, and it was just like crazy competition this year. It really was. We just didn't know what to do. So carry on, Carmen. You're a great artist. Don't worry about it. All right. Thank you. Bye.